Hey, Tim Sykes here. I hope you're having a good weekend. Wanted to go over my recent trades and kind of just give a whole little March recap and what I think is working best right now. First, I have to mention all day Monday, giving a live trading webinar, Q&A, watch list building, trading, maybe no trading. I don't know. I'll explain if I don't take a trade. There's going to be tons of action. I really think there's going to be several trades because the market has just been insane the past few days. And I don't know how long it lasts. Everyone's asking me, like, is this the start of a new bull market? I just take it one day, one trade at a time. But given Wednesday, Thursday, Friday specifically, I have a really good feeling about the current market. Again, weeks, months, years, I don't know. But I'll explain more on Monday, and you'll see it on Monday too. Whether you believe me or not, seeing is believing. And when you start seeing more of these runners, you start seeing more of these dip buys working. Friday was incredible. I'll post a link to this if you want to join me. And I'm posting this, over the weekend. So feel free to watch any DVD, video lesson, webinar, or review your trades, or review stocks and trade breaking news. Write down questions that you get. The whole point of this is you guys studying. We have tons of materials. You have access to all of the materials that all my top students have had, and you have more now. Every new millionaire, in case you haven't realized, is benefiting from past millionaires. And you can see what has been working in different markets for different students with different personalities and different strengths and weaknesses. And it's all about really studying. I know that everyone wants like meetups and they want friendship. You don't need that crap. I'm sorry to be the Grinch, but you need more time studying, okay? You're not the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You're the average of everything you study and the information you retain, and then what you retain and then utilize in the markets and in life. That's what you are. You're not so easily influenced by others, nor should you be. I spend a lot of time with a lot of people, and I like them for different reasons, but I am not the average of them, okay? So I know that people like that. I'm sorry to put my foot down, but especially in trading where 90% of traders lose, you could spend a lot of time with, 5 losers. That's just going to hold you back. And I really, really, really want you to understand that most traders lose. Most people in this industry are frauds. Most chat rooms, most newsletters are specifically affiliated with brokers or own brokers or co-own brokers or prop firms, and they just share in the commissions, and they want to create degenerate gamblers and that whole gambling mentality. And not just, chat rooms, newsletters, but like brokers themselves, financial media. It's all about getting you to trade, because they don't care whether you win or lose. They just rack up their profits from commissions. The more that you trade, the better their business. Doesn't matter if you make money. Doesn't matter if you lose money. They know that most traders are going to lose. They're just throwing out idea after idea after idea. Part of the beauty of me being real in this industry is that I don't want you to just trade and trade and trade. And my own business is not, affiliated with any broker commissions, okay? I succeed when you succeed. And I want more millionaire students. Why am I spending all day on Monday? And I'm probably going to lose my voice. And I actually have a very special guest joining me too, because it helps you. It helps create more millionaires. It helps you cut through the BS and all the noise in this industry. And there's a lot. When I first got started teaching, I knew that there was a lot of frauds and a lot of fakery and a lot of BS. I had no idea. Okay, it is mountains. If you stacked up all the BS in this industry and you created a mountain full of shit, it would stretch from the earth to the moon. There is so much BS in this industry. It's crazy. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the best trader in the world, but I promise to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I don't need to swear on any Bible or any courtroom. This is my passion in life. Some of my critics, some of my haters will say, you're not professional. And I literally just emailed one guy and I was like, you're right. I'm not professional. I'm real AF. And it's not just a job for me. It is my mission in life. to create more millionaires. So understand that every single thing I do, every single thing I say is geared to help you in your education, even if you don't realize it, especially in the beginning, because a lot of my lessons are counterintuitive. Like I said, there's a lot of smack talk in this industry. Part of the reason why I don't short sell much, I think I've done like 3 shorts in the past 2 years, is because, not because it's not profitable, it would be profitable for me, it's not profitable for my students. When you're a newbie, you don't understand the risks, you don't understand the volatility. And even the best short sellers, even the ones with millions in the bank and several years experience, are risking giant losses or blowing up on some of these squeezes. So I try to get away from the riskiest strategies, and I try to give you not necessarily like the most profitable, because again, like you can make a lot short selling, but the risks are too great for my newbie students. So understand that. That's why, again, I teach a very specific way. I trade a very specific way for you. Okay. I'm now up, for the month, I made like under $10,000. Some traders make this in a day, in an hour, in a minute, because they're trading with bigger accounts. I trade with a small account, and I want to show you the process. And actually, I'm really happy with my, nearly $10,000 in profits in March, okay? It doesn't look like much, but I was actually down after the first 2 weeks, and I had a nice comeback. And a lot of this is like mainly like the last week. We really closed strongly, with GFAI and SIVBQ, even though I underestimated both of these. You look at my last 3 trades, fantastic little profits, like 1,000, 2,000 each. I mean, there was so much more. Like when you start to see this stuff in real time, like GFAI, I bought it twice in the 6s and the 7s. I was buying it in here and I was selling it in here and it went to freaking 10. It's laughable how much I underestimate. But again, it's good for you to see this because, when you want to see what's possible, you shouldn't see best case scenario. Like now, year to date, a little over 30,000, over 1 year, like we're talking, a little over 100,000. But again, now I'm closing in on, 7.5 million in profits. Several of my students have now already done more. So again, I am so proud to teach you. I will post a link to this all-day live webinar. I think that you should join. I think it's going to be useful. If you miss some or even all of it, it's going to be recorded. And if you do, join me, like you have access to all of the past all-day live webinars. And again, you'll see me screw up. You'll see me nail some trades. You'll see me answer questions. It really just speeds up your learning curve. And that's what this is all about. I can't turn you into a millionaire overnight, but I can teach you all the lessons I learned the hard way over the past 2 decades, and that can only help you. So let's get to what is working best. Let's start with SIVBQ. Dip buys. Dip buys, dip buys, dip buys on morning panics. SIVBQ, if you've been watching my last few video lessons, really been, again, it doesn't look like much because, this is a former bankrupt bank, and it was opening down here from the 4s down to like what did it get down to? Like 25 cents. This whole little bounce, this is all, just speculative buying / short squeeze. A lot of shorts were shorting this here 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 cents, saying this stock doesn't deserve to go up. As short sellers, they like to, be very narrow-minded, or they don't like to. That's just who they are. And even if they're right, eventually long-term, that doesn't mean that it can't go to $1, $2, or even $3 a share in the short run. I don't know how high it goes. So I was dip buying it here in I think what was my first buy, like in the 70s, and I sold it, I think either in the 70s or the 80s. Dip buying it here a few times, wasting this dip buy opportunity by being too aggressive. And then on Friday, I was all excited for the morning panic. And sometimes things line up and everything just comes together. I did a watch list. I warned of a morning panic. I did a pre-market video lesson. I warned of a morning panic. What happened when the market opened? We got the morning panic. Even in the chat, I was like, incoming morning panic. This is absolutely perfect. This whole little panic from basically, 90 down to 70, and then a bounce up to back to 90. I wouldn't have ever stayed to like 120. I mean, this is a Friday short squeeze. If you've been following me, if you know how crowded short selling is right now, you know that there's a lot of shorts, and they create great squeezes. And so as much as I rip on the short sellers and warn about them, I'm forever grateful. Because the promoters have kind of sucked lately. Short sellers are the new promoters. They spike the stocks the most because of their groupthink and because of their leper toxicity, and they're all in the same Discord chat rooms and they all trade together. Be very careful about trading with anybody else. Let's learn from Atlas. Atlas Trading made a lot of money in the bubble. Now they're all in jail or on trial for, fraud and money laundering and all sorts of nasty stuff. Don't trade with anybody else. It's a big, 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 big risk. It's a big, 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 big no-no in this industry. And this is what creates these short squeezes. I mean, this is crazy. I wouldn't have expected it to go from 70 cents up to $1.20. I mean, this is like a 60% bounce from bottom to top. But this was what I wanted. This is what's predictable. And because again, I don't have the patience. I'm not the best trader. I like trading extra safe. I called the morning panic to a T. And what did I do? I nailed the entry. I nailed the bottom to a T. Okay. It was already legit bouncing before I could even type it out. But again, you can watch my video lessons. I post about these morning panics all the time. It's really not that hard to see the turn in level 2. I just posted a video. I posted several videos, but I posted a video the other day on SHMP from a few years ago. Same exact pattern, same exact philosophy. You're trying to dip by the morning panic, catch the turn. I coulda, woulda, shoulda gone bigger. I actually thought that, sometimes you get one big panic and then like another one. I thought that, it was going to panic once and then maybe bounce a little bit and then have a second panic. And I like to load up on like this second panic when it's so, just down and up, like it's actually tough for me to accept, because, the first dip buy, I mean, you couldn't have gotten a better fill than I did the first time. So I actually do better on the second or, sometimes if there's even a third panic after like 2 dip buys, because that usually wipes out all the early dip buyers. In this case, there was no second panic. So I nailed the bottom, but I sold way too soon, buying in the low 70s, selling in the high 70s. And then it goes again. I would never have held through this choppiness. Best case scenario, you buy it at 71, maybe sell half here at 80 and sell the other half at 90. That's best case for me. But it's nice to see morning panics are working. It closed like a fade. I would love to see another morning panic on Monday. We'll see what happens during my all-day live webinar. But this has been a stock, 2 days in a row. Even here, when it had, a morning spike on Thursday, it still had a pretty nice panic, down from like the 140s down to $1.10. And I nailed the bottom here, in the 96s. So it is possible to nail the bottom on this. And, on this one, there was a nice bottom and a bounce, but I was too eager to want to trade it. So I have to do a better job not wanting to trade. It's tough when I see so many patterns. And, frankly, we've been desperate for like this kind of volatility for a while. So I have to control my eagerness to trade. I have to wait for these solid patterns. And then I also have to work on my exits. When I do see a perfect solid pattern, I gotta take a step back and look at the big picture, because at 71 cents, I mean, this is legit a 50% dip from this spike the previous day. And I know it's a bankrupt stock and theoretically it's worth nothing. And, you have to be careful. You don't want to just dip by, try to catch a falling knife that keeps crashing. But at the same time, 50% off the high from top to bottom. I mean, you gotta respect this entry a little more. And I should have sold much more conservatively, or aggressively, depending on how you look at it. I should have been more aggressive in my goals. I should have been more conservative, selling half at 76.5 maybe, or even at 80, and then trying to let the other half run. And I got to work on that. And the same thing happens with the second one. So this is my problem where, this was my weekend play. Congrats to all of you guys in my weekend newsletter. This continues to be my single best performing newsletter. The weekend plays have worked for 2 freaking decades. it boggles my mind that more people don't take advantage of this time frame. I'll post a link to my weekend newsletter if you want to learn. It's specifically all for, ideally Friday to Monday plays. But again, I have a problem where I like locking in profits. And I've developed this really conservative mindset the past 2 years, and I have to be a little more aggressive because I like trading with a small account, but trading with a small account doesn't mean that you have to trade like a coward all the time. And again, I need to have more perspective. So I make these video lessons to, yes, explain about my strategy, but I also have to call myself out on my shortcomings. If you're in my weekend newsletter, there's a whole separate video talking about GFAI, why I chose it. But long story short, AI is hot. The ticker symbol AI, this has all of the biggest short sellers involved in this, and they're all saying, oh, this company's a scam, AI is a scam, the business sucks. The chart says otherwise. This is actually a beautiful, cup and handle. And, if you flip this upside down, I mean, if you were a short and if this were going red on the way down, like this is a beautiful breakdown. But in reality, we're not flipping this upside down, and this is a beautiful breakout. I don't know how high it goes, but again, you have these Friday short squeezes. You have AI sector where whether or not the business is there, the hype is there, the trend is there. Same thing with the NASDAQ. Like you have all these doom and gloomers saying, oh, the NASDAQ, the U.S. economy is terrible. It's never paid to bet against the U.S. economy for any extended period of time. And it's never paid to bet against the NASDAQ for any extended period of time. This is a beautiful breakout on the NASDAQ. I'm really pumped. Some people say like, well, Tim, like the NASDAQ is going up, AI is going up, but there's not that many plays. Well, if you look at IWM, this is small caps. IWM is right near its lows. I'm just glad that we even freaking bottomed. Small caps have massively underperformed. But if the NASDAQ keeps going, if AI keeps going, the IWM and all these small caps will keep going too. So a rising tide lifts all boats. That's why I'm rooting for AI. Screw the short sellers. They're toxic. They're negative lepers anyways. And, as I like to mention, because they're so focused on like, this is a scam, this is a fraud, and trust me, I know them because I used to be like that. They're always looking for worst case scenario. This is why they have health problems, like legit, not trying to make fun of them. They have health problems. They have high cholesterol. They drink a lot. They're very stressed. Because you're betting on failure, it really is kind of a nasty way to live. Forget about just the risk of short selling. Like so many shorts are thinking AI is a joke. And again, maybe in a year or two, they'll be proven right. And they'll like take pride in it, be like, I was first. I called it. Shut up, you lepers. Okay? I'm sorry, but I have to warn against that toxic mindset. AI, for the time being, is breaking out. BBAI is another one I was thinking about buying, but frankly, it was only up like 28% on the day. I went with GFAI because it's the laggard of the group. Look at this long-term chart, okay? Again, the shorts aren't wrong with their strategy. They're wrong with just you have one life. Why do you want to be negative your entire life? It's a really nasty way to live. And again, GFAI, why did it spike? Why did it double in the last 2 hours, 3 hours? Not because they had any news, just because AI is hot. This is, the worst of the worst. Fundamentally speaking, the short sellers hate it the most. And so on Fridays, when there's the greatest likelihood of a short squeeze, that creates the most fuel for upside. And that's why I was buying GFAI in the 6s and the 7s. And again, I really have to learn to only sell half. This is my shortcoming. I made $1 million in trading each of 2020, 2021. Several of my students made more. I am like this conservative guy, and this is perhaps why I'm a teacher. There's a saying, teachers are those who can't do. I mean, I have made millions, but I'm really not good at pushing it. I like locking in profits. 1,000, 2,000 a day keeps the real job away, is what I say. It's crazy to me how dead on I am with the morning panics like SIVBQ, and how dead on I was with GFAI as a potential short squeeze. Understand, when I bought it, I said the goal is to sell in the 7s or the 8s, and I'm buying it in the 6s. So I didn't know that it was going to turn into a giant short squeeze. I'm pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, I have to apologize. I have to apologize where I need to recognize my own talent and I know that sounds like cocky, but it's true. Like I'm just dead on right now when the morning panics and the weekend plays, and I have to respect that. So I'm going to do better on Monday during my all day live webinar. If I get like a perfect morning panic or a perfect, spike with news, like I get my patterns, I'm going to really only try to sell half at first and not just be greedy and be like, look at me, I made 1,000 or 2 on the day. That was a too much of a cowardly trade. And then after hours, again, people say like, I had already put in my I tweeted, I didn't put in, but I tweeted like my monthly recap. I was like, this is how much I'm up on the day, the week, the month. Theoretically, the market is closed. I should close my laptop, but I couldn't stop watching GFAI. I'm always watching these plays even after I sell to try to learn what I could have done better. And then sometimes a trade pops up. And, with GFAI after hours, like it closed here at 7-ish. So I was like, okay, good sell here. Didn't think that it would get up that much for the weekend. And then in like 2 minutes after hours, it goes from basically 709 up to 8. And I'm like, oh crap. Like this thing can really move. This has all the characteristics of a short squeeze. Some short seller probably thought that it was going to, this was like best case scenario from 5 to 7.5. And so he was shorting theoretically all in here. You never know exactly what the shorts are doing. But again, I used to be a short seller, so I know how they think. And as I said to you guys who are my weekend newsletter subscribers, and again, I'll post a link so that you can understand that there's specific newsletters. But if I was a short seller and if I saw this closing here strongly and, AI is uptrending after hours, BBAI was uptrending a little bit after hours, GFAI is like closing at its highs. And this one out of the 3 has the best spike ability. If you're a short seller and you're shorting a hard to borrow stock like GFAI, you have to pay a daily fee. Like the locate fee, whether it's 1 cent, 2 cents, 5 cents. I mean, there's a lot more brokers these days than when I was a dedicated short seller. So, they're charging 20, 30, 50 cents a share for the borrows. But if the stock drops $2, $3, $4 a share, it's worth it. But they have to pay those locate fees every single night. So, if you're shorting stock Thursday to Friday overnight, it's 1 night of locate fees. But on weekends, it's oftentimes 3, right? Because you're shorting Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night to hold over the weekend. So it's more expensive. Different brokers have different rules and, sometimes there's like rebates and stuff like that. But long story short, it's more expensive to short a stock over the weekend. And I can almost guarantee that, no one was actually buying this stock for like, oh, I think this is going to break out. This is a short seller covering. And I don't know exactly how many shares they were short, but when this stock spiked, I mean, it wasn't even like huge volume. It was just this. Look at this. This doesn't even look like much. I mean, there's much more volume here into the close. I mean, we're talking what on the volume bar? We're talking 10,000 shares. So 10,000 shares can spike this stock $1 a share. I mean, that pretty much just busts the whole short seller's thesis. Like, wait a minute, this can go a lot higher. And that was the guide for this big run up. So my after hours trade, going back to this, I wasn't looking to trade. I was, about to close the laptop, but I'm watching it to try to learn. And that $1 a share spike on basically 10,000 shares helped me understand, like, wait a minute, this can really run. And I think it alerted a lot of short sellers to the risks. Because what if you're short 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 shares? If it can run $1 a share on a lousy 10,000 shares, what can it do after hours? What can it do on Monday? And you're paying the locate fees. So that's basically what created this whole short squeeze. Like people say, like, what creates short squeeze is this realization that the stock can spike more. And this is why I'm so all about you guys studying more, studying the DVDs, video lessons, webinars, yes, but like studying tape action, like watching this stuff. Many people were still in my chat room and I saw them commenting, but they didn't understand the significance of this $1 a share run up on 10,000 shares. And even though, it came down. And so then it came down here. And again, I'm like, okay, about to close my laptop and I'm watching. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And it comes straight back down to the sevens because, again, there's not a lot of volume. So some people will say, okay, it's just one short covering. But again, think about all the other people who were shorting here. And because short sellers all hang out in the same chat rooms, they all trade together. When there's one large short, there's usually like 5 or 10 or 20. They're so clandestine. And this is, again, why I'm warning you about trading with others. Like, sometimes my top students and I all get together. Like I, have this beautiful villa in Italy that I invite them to. And they're all like in the same room, and I go to another room, and they're all like weirded out. They're like, what is he doing? Why is he going to another room? I don't want to be influenced by anybody else. I don't want to trade with anybody else. I don't even want to think about what they're trading. Versus, the industry norm, like, let's do meetups. Let's all trade together. This is why I try to stay on my own as much as I can. And maybe that makes me weird. Maybe that makes me antisocial. Maybe it just makes me smart. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. This is how I trade. And so this, to me, created a buying opportunity. I don't want to chase it up $1 a share because, it spiked $1 a share on 10,000 shares. It can drop $1 a share. I don't usually trade after hours. But when it came down here to the 720s, I'm like, crap, I have to trade this. And this is going back to my lesson where I say I'm a retired trader. I'm only going to come out of retirement when there's a play that's so good I would feel guilty missing it. And I know that's a mouthful, but it's reality. So I was very happy with, the close. I was closing the month on a high note, nearly 3,000 on the day. Already very happy. But then I see this squeeze, new education, new realization for me. Then I see a dip buy, and there's tons of buyers here at I think on the bid, there was 1,000 shares at 709, 2,000 at 705, and there was a lot of buyers at 695 and 7. So I could easily take 1,000 or 2 shares, and that's what I did. Buying whoever was selling to me at 721, thank you. Thank you for not studying enough. Thank you for creating the opportunity. There was a big block buyer on the ask. I would have bought 3,000 shares if I could, but I just put my limit at 721 and I got about 2,000 shares. And so again, dead on in my entry. I think it was hanging around 710, or 720 for a few minutes, got up to the 730s, 740s. And then it was coming up here. And then I had a choice right here. I was like, okay, it's spiking. It spiked to the 760s. Obviously, I didn't know that it was going to go to the 10s. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sold. But again, there's more volume here, and it's not spiking as much. And this I don't mind my selling too soon because it spiked $1 a share here on 10,000 shares. So I thought, okay, if I'm dip buying it near support, theoretically, it could spike again on 10,000 or 20,000 shares. We'll see what other shorts might want to cover. And then it was going here to the mid 7s, but you can see there's actually quite a bit of volume, there's, volume blocks here of, where is it? It was before the bigger volume, but right here, there's a volume block of 7,000 shares. And, it only went up to the 760s. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it was just, one short seller covering here. So I'm selling it in the 7s because there's a lot of buying volume, but there's also selling volume. Obviously, I didn't know because legit, right when I was selling, within 30 minutes of me selling, it was nearly $3 a share higher. So I don't mind this sell as much. It's looking in hindsight, it looks like I could have made a lot more, but it wasn't spiking the way that I wanted to. And that's a big thing. Again, when you study enough, if you trade on your own, if you learn on your own, using tools online, but, focused on what you know and what you don't know, not influenced by anybody else, it was not going up as much as I thought. So I got out because already I'm pushing it. I had a busy Friday night. I'm not wanting to trade. I didn't know it was going to spike $3 a share over the next 30 minutes. So I don't mind this sell. this is me just okay, made it's like a wallet pad. I think that's what I said. Yeah, nice little wallet pad to end the month. So, I'm coming out of retirement because the play is good, but at the same time, even as I'm typing it, like it went up to like the 780s, and I was like, oh damn, maybe I shouldn't have. And then, if you were in chat, I was shocked by this whole squeeze. But this is exactly what I'm saying, and this is why I warn against trading with others. I'll warn, as long as I see the risk about these Discord chat rooms where everyone likes to trade together and everyone likes to congregate together. I get it. Trading is lonely. You want friendship. I understand, but I also understand that the vast majority of these little study groups, these little trading chat rooms, people are tempted to trade together. And I'm not saying everyone's doing, everything illegal like Atlas trading, but it really is dangerous. And I can almost guarantee, because people are like, why is GFAI spiking so much? Okay, it's in the AI sector, but none of the other AI stocks are spiking this much. What's going on? I can almost guarantee you that whoever was shorting here and covered here, whoever was this short, I can almost guarantee you that they're in some Discord chat room. And, whether or not people say it publicly, and this is the thing, right? Like Discord chat rooms and, the whole trading industry is very secretive. You can have like 5 usernames in Discord chat rooms. It might be one person. So, I can only imagine how confusing it is as a newbie where, you're in this Discord chat room with random usernames and like there's like 7 or 8 or maybe even 10 people all buying the stock, and you think like, oh, okay, everyone agrees. When you don't realize it could just be one person with multiple usernames. Like there's so much fraud in this industry. Or, what's worse is sometimes there are 7, 8, 10, 80 people. Some people don't even talk in a Discord chat room. But if you, let's say, forget about like the whole loser thesis where like everyone's pretty much a loser in this industry. What if there's successful people? And you're like, well, this person's successful. Let me just try to follow all their trades. So you might have one successful trader posting and then 80 or 800 people are following the same trades. And if this is a successful short seller shorting here, guess what? These are all the followers covering. And the successful short seller might cover here, but it doesn't mean that the successful short seller is necessarily telling other people that they covered here, because maybe it's a loss, but they're just realizing the risk like any, experienced trader would. And the 80 or, 100 other short sellers, wannabe short sellers, they're all covering in here because they're like, oh, damn. And this is part of the reason why we created Profitly. I was in, several, not Discord chat rooms, but on different websites where traders who looked legit or successful would alert their entry, but they never alerted their exit. And this is the trading industry. This is FinTwit as a whole. No one wants to show their mistakes or losses. So you say whatever you want about me and my strategy and my teachings. I will show you all my mistakes and all my losses so that you can learn from them. They're actually really helpful. But, in this whole thesis that this is probably just a short squeeze and nothing more, there probably was some short seller who got squeezed here. And whether or not he or she alerted it in their, little leper-like Discord chat room, I can almost guarantee you that this was all their ignorant, unprepared, undisciplined followers covering. And that's what creates these short squeezes. So again, as much as I'm ripping on the short sellers, I appreciate them. Just like, promoters. Like I used to rip on promoters a lot. I'm always grateful. Anytime there was a promoter and like the pump and dump would crash, I would be like, I feel for the promoters. They sold their soul to the devil. They're unethical. They're probably going to jail, if not hell, for all eternity. But at the same time, thank you for the opportunity, because these promoters are not very smart. They make their pumps, very obvious. And this is the same thing with short sellers. So I have to warn about short sellers, but people are like, oh, call them out. I don't want to call them out. I don't want them to stop doing what they're doing. I'm very grateful for all these shady Discord chat rooms popping up. I'm grateful that, Profitly once upon a time had a lot of different traders on it. One by one, they make excuses. I don't want to show all my trades. Different issues. Fine. So be it. If this can be like, Camelot, the last kingdom, and everyone else is, just a barbarian, so be it. But this is the trading industry as I see it. And this creates good opportunities. So I totally underestimated the upside here. And I still have to work on my exits. But whether it's a short squeeze, whether it's morning panics, there's a lot of plays. And, finally, we're seeing a lot of volatility. And as you can hear in my voice, probably, I'm getting more and more excited. So, now I'm averaging a little over 10,000 a month, but this is not best case scenario by any means. I can be a lot more aggressive. I need to be more aggressive, selling half my position, maybe even taking bigger positions. So I think I'm pretty dead on in my thesis with these morning panics and these short squeezes. Sometimes there's like news-based spikes too. And also, by the way, I have to mention, like some people are going to come away from this video lesson being like, oh God, Sykes really hates short sellers. There's still some solid short selling opportunities. Stocks to trade breaking news, which you should be using every single day. Stocks to trade breaking news alerted VHC, where was it? Like right around here when they lost a court case against Apple, and stocks to trade breaking news alerted it like 230, 220. I alerted it in chat. I should have shorted it. There was a lot of downside here. So short sellers, congrats to you guys on VHC. This was a gimme. The stocks to trade breaking news alert was basically like they lost the court case. They're probably going to have to drop their whole, legal strategy against Apple. And that was a big catalyst. And it's crazy to me how dead on stocks to trade breaking news was. There are shorting opportunities, and there's no short squeeze here because again, it's based on news and you can see the volume. So use stocks to trade breaking news. I'll post a link. Join me on Monday for the all day webinar. And I'll also post a link to my weekend newsletter. Like you have so many tools now to be better informed. You don't need to just follow random traders with random usernames. I really think that's like polluting this whole industry and holding people back from what they can achieve if they have the right mindset, the right tools, and obviously, timing, right? Like anybody saw the news after the fact, but stocks to trade broke the news here. Also VORB, VORB was spiking. This is like Virgin, Galactic, like it was bouncing, like maybe they're coming back, they're exploring their options. Stocks to trade breaking news alerted it. I think I alerted the chat room. I don't even know. I've been traveling. Sometimes I miss it, but I think it was around 29 cents a share when the news came out that they were going to be laying off like pretty much everybody. And they were going to go bankrupt. And, sometimes when you're shorting, I should also mention, if you're trying to short on breaking news, like it's straight down. And sometimes you don't get a fill. I don't know if this would have been even shortable given the breaking news, but the opportunity was there. And sometimes like when a near bankrupt company pretty much announces that they're going bankrupt, and it's trading at 30 cents, as you can see, it drops 50% on that news pretty quickly. And stocks to trade breaking news broke that news, and stocks to trade breaking news broke the news here. So I don't know what's fillable because I'm not really a short seller anymore, as you can probably hear. But there were shorting opportunities on both these stocks. I coulda, woulda, shoulda shorted. The long story short, there's a lot of plays. Dip buys, short squeezes, shorting breaking news, sometimes breaking news spikes. So I'm just excited for all the opportunity. And if you ever miss any of these plays, if you don't get filled, if you sell too early, like I saw some people, GFAI, because it was choppy, right? And, I saw one guy, he bought it at like 720, and then I think he sold it at like 690 because it was dropping right here. So he's like, oh, shoot, I lost, 30 cents a share, and then it spiked, $3 a share. If you ever miss, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I don't mind cutting losses quickly. With short squeezes, it's a little choppy. It's a little more difficult. But there's always another play, and there's always another opportunity. And if you miss any of these plays, if you lose on any of these plays, if you sell too soon, if you only get a partial execution, it's all part of your education. It's all part of your journey. That's what you have to understand. And like so many people oh, I missed this one. I'm such an idiot. Don't be hard on yourselves, okay? Two of my top students, Tim Grittani, Jack Kellogg, both in 8 figures. Jack Kellogg just passed 12 million. Grittani's closing in on 15 million. Grittani made nothing his first 9 months. Jack Kellogg lost $2,000 his first year. And he paid several $1,000s for the challenge. Both of them did. So if you're down after 9 months or a year, or even 2 years, because 2022 was, the average trading account lost 40% plus. Like, don't feel bad. You're learning. It's all about learning from every single play, on day one, week one, month one, year one, day two, month one, year two. Like, you have to understand, how can you get better prepared? How can you get really optimized by year 3, year 4, year 5? You listen to the way I'm talking, like, it's like, wow, like, you talk fast, you're thinking all this stuff. It's because I've been doing this 20 plus freaking years. This isn't like sports where you have to, you have like an expiration date. You have to become an expert basketball player, or, work on your fitness and be as good as possible and wake up at 5 a.m. and eat codfish to work out before school, like I used to do as a tennis player, but I never really made it. You don't have an expiration date as a trader. And there will be more short squeezes like this. And sometimes they're not just going to go from 5 to 10. In a hotter market, sometimes we've seen Friday short squeezes go from 5 to 20, or sometimes even 5 to 50 in a few days. So it's more important that you understand these concepts and you start to capitalize on the opportunity. And whether that opportunity is to earn or to learn, it's not an exact science. It's always toughest in the beginning. So, if you do tune in to me on Monday with this webinar, don't expect to understand everything. And you might see me miss some trades too. Even though I've been doing this 20 plus years, I'm not perfect. As you see, I oftentimes sell too soon. I was so dead on. I was so prepared for SIVBQ. Okay? Like, I could not have been more prepared. Even here, when I was excited about, dip buying and I got a little too excited and I had to lose $1,000, like, I was so ready for this. I was actually too ready. And this is the problem, where this is the difficulty with trading. Okay, there's no expiration date, but like I said, a lot of these rules are counterintuitive. In a normal job, the harder you work, the more success you'll have. Here, you have to learn. Sometimes you can be too prepared. If you want a morning panic too badly, sometimes you're like, yes, got the morning panic, and then you're too early. And then you become part of the panic and it drops more. So successful trading is about knowing these patterns inside and out, studying as much tape as you can, knowing about the dangers of short selling, knowing about morning panics, knowing about, the openings, why you should use stocks to trade breaking news. Like, I literally would not trade without stocks to trade breaking news. I'm going to link this page. This is the Stocks to Trade Breaking News page. It's not me. I made a video talking about it. This was like one of the villas that I had rented in Bali. And I was just like, I did this video spur of the moment. I was like, I would not be able to trade from Bali without Stocks to Trade Breaking News, because they're alerting all the best news plays. But I don't run it. People are like, oh, you're just promoting another newsletter you run. I don't. I'm an actual user of Stocks to Trade Breaking News. It's 2X hedge fund analysts, and they're alerting all the most actionable news. There's thousands of pieces of news a day, but they curate it. And like I said, just two of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head, with VORB, with the laying off 90%, and VHC losing, the court case. Those are just two examples. And, they're both shorts examples, so not ideal for me. I didn't take any of them, but I think I did alert both of them in chat. I think I did alert both of them. I don't know. I can't remember. There's too much going on right now. But long story short, I would not trade without Stocks to Trade Breaking News. So use these tools. Use, Stocks to Trade Breaking News, and utilize my all-day live webinars. So I know that I'm ranting a little bit, but there's so much opportunity right now, especially compared to a few weeks ago and certainly a few months ago. Sometimes I was just like, if you follow me close enough, sometimes it's just like, go out, like travel more, work out, spend time with friends or family. It's a slow market. You can't really learn that much. When there's not a lot of good plays, you don't need to just sit in front of your computer. That's what degenerate gamblers do. They're looking for good plays. They're looking for action. Right now, there are so many plays, long and short, every single day. So I'm very excited for Monday. I don't know. Maybe you can tell I'm excited. Leave a comment below if you've even made it through this whole video. If you're excited for Monday, if you're excited for the opportunity, if you understand that these tools are designed to help you. Like, we don't make any money on Stocks to Trade Breaking News. We don't make any money on Stocks to Trade. All of this is specifically designed to help you learn. I want more millionaire students. That's why I do this. That's why I'm so pumped. And if I could somehow come through this computer screen to help you understand, I would. But I can't force you to study. I can't force you to learn. That's up to you. Hopefully I can reach at least one person with example after example of solid trades, of solid students, of opportunities made, opportunities missed. I got to get going. I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll post a lot of links below this video, but very excited for this market. Thank you, NASDAQ, for breaking out. Thank you, short sellers, for creating squeezes. Thank you, promoters, for creating opportunities. Thank you, everybody. I'm loving this, and you should be too. Cheers.